Hey guys, Sebbediah here, and welcome to episode 3 of the Cobblemon Forever World. Now, you've seen the thumbnail, you've seen the title, so as you are already aware, today we're going to be delving into the distant past, rediscovering lost secrets, but most importantly, we are going to bring back some long extinct Pokémon. So let's get moving and I'll explain everything as we progress. Just like in the previous episode, there is a few things on the agenda before we start delving into the archaeology. Oh look, it seems like a Macargo moved into our lava generator. He looks so happy. Anyways, since I would like to have you guys involved in this world, influencing it via name suggestions and other types of voting, I want to have a place where I will be able to record everything. And so we are going to build an archive room in my house. This is why I'm going around collecting leather right now. I've kinda let the cow farm run a little dry, so we have to resort to some old style tactics, which is kinda fitting for the theme of this episode anyway. I also had Darumaka do some fighting against the abundant forest dwelling grass type Pokemon, and I just love how energetic she is all the time. I had someone comment that she looks like the McDonald's Happy Meal box, and I have never been so angry at something I 100% agree with. I cannot unsee it now. Back to the task at hand though. I've used the leather to make some bookshelves which will go nicely as decoratives in the archives room, along with lecterns which will hold the books we are actively using to record the legal information. For the final decorations, I've added some plant pots around, which I will put some flowers in later. Oh, hello. Pigman over there just observing me breeding cows. On my way to the ocean, I've encountered a shiny Sentret, and the lore holds up. Look at his color palette. Another shade of yellow. Go on, Sentret, go make friends with the others. Oh, look at our berries sprouting up. So pretty. Right, let's not get distracted. We are gonna focus on one thing at a time. I needed some ink sacs for the books, so I spent a little bit of time chasing squids around, smacking them with a sword. Using the ink, I then crafted together the books for the lecterns. So let's start filling them up. The first one is going to be full of Pokemon nicknames. To start off, we are catching up on Lilligant's name from the last episode, Basil, by Mars.tn_. Next, we have Devious Boy 1 saying, name the shiny Ledibus Squiggles. You got it. IJ Cares says, honestly, love the design of the tree, seems like a beautiful design. Thank you. And to recommend the name for Geodude, it could be called Nugget. I think that is a fantastic name. Nugget it is. Next is a suggestion by Natsunora, the God of Illusion 7915. That is a long name, bro. He says, Azorua, if it's a male, name it after me. Sure. I won't have Zora on my team or in the greenhouse, but I don't mind naming it after you. Dustin193 says, name Caterpie Dave. Which, is so silly. I have to do it. Well, Caterpie, you are now known as Dave. Wait, bruh, it's evolving. It actually loves the name so much it's evolving, bro, what? Oh, I think Dave caught a little bit too much sun. Dave photosynthesized a little too hard. Dave looks like an extra dusted cheese puff. I am so sorry. Just wait here, Dave. I'll get you an SPF 50 sun cream in a little bit. In the meantime, Cyber Arrow says, Zigzagoon and Lanoon are one of my faves, especially the shiny. I would love it to be called Arrow since that's the name of the first Lanoon I owned. I think I can defo honor that request. There you go, Zigzagoon. I hope you're happy with your new name. And lastly, love_init_ says, please name one of the shinies Jim. Okay. Sentret, you're taking one for the team, buddy. Little Jim. Okay, let's put this book away. And of course, the next one is going to be places, like the greenhouse, with the one after being landmarks, like the tree. But since I don't want to do all of the naming at once in one big segment, we are going to leave the rest of it to happen throughout the episode. We are turning our attention to the Foliage room. I've built this back in episode 1 and its purpose is to display a bit of the vanilla Minecraft plants and flowers. But I've not really engaged with it at all, so I thought it was about time I started to slowly fill it up. Starting with the saplings we already have. And how cute is that? I've made a little list of the ones that were missing so I can keep an eye out for them. Okay, we are now gonna leave the house because 4n10apt commented, I created a map with your seed. I installed Chunky and loaded the map for 5,000 block radius. There is a swamp 3,000 something blocks to your southwest. It is huge. Most of you will already know, but I have been struggling to find a swamp in my world. So bro, if this is legit, we are cooking. I got my stuff ready and flew out into the specified direction, keeping an eye out for anything that could resemble a swamp. It was supposedly massive, so I didn't think I could miss it. Oh no, it started raining. This is significantly going to impact my visibility, oh no. It's okay, we are braving the storm. I will find this swamp. Never mind, it's turning night, we're taking a break. And what a better place to land than a cherry grove. Give me your sapling. I need it for my collection. Since it was turning night as well, it allowed us to have a nap to both clear the weather and skip to the morning. Now back to the skies we go. I was flying around but genuinely could not locate the said swamp biome. The specified instructions were south-southwest, so I thought maybe I went too far into the center. I circled around heading more south but still no sign of the swamp. Until, guys, I think that's it. Them blue squares, that's blue orchids. Ooh, that is indeed a swamp. Yeah! Oh, a mangrove tree sapling thingy. I forgot about these. Let's add these onto the list. This cannot be the swamp the commenter meant, by the way, because it's small. But who cares? It's a swamp. It spawns slimes, that's the important part. Since the swamp is home to the blue orchids, which are my favorite Minecraft flower, I collected a lot of them. I had to make sure I wouldn't run out anytime soon. Since it was a brand new biome to me, I also managed to scan in a few new Pokémon into our Pokédex, including a new Vivillon form. Look at those wings. Beautiful. The night has fallen upon us and here come the evildoers. But where are the slimes? That's who we're after. Oh, that's unsettling. Slime? Hello? If not slime, then why slime colored? It is now morning and I found literally 0 slimes. This world is determined to make sure I don't get my hands on slime. I decided that the best option would be to wait around until the full moon, as that gives the highest chance of slime spawning. Okay, here we go again. There better be some green jello cubes around this time. Okay, we're getting out of here because at this point, I think I'm just gonna go look around for a slime chunk. I decided to fly back around where I came from, just to push more to the west out of curiosity for this massive swamp, and I actually found it without realizing I found it. Pause here. This is it. This looks like a forest to me, no wonder I didn't see it. But as I flew above it, boom, swamp. No way, man. Okay, that is actually a huge swamp. It's so dense too. At least if I ever need mangrove trees, I know where to go for them. Okay, let's skip to the night. No way! I found you, you elusive f***. Now I just need to hunt for its brethren. We are committing slime genocide tonight, lads. Get out of my way, zombies. You are not the primary target in this. Oh, god damn, it's a full army here. They've summoned the cavalry. Not the cavalry. That's the hill where they crucified Jesus. I strongly doubt a hill would sprout legs to rush to my aid. And it's daytime. Okay, let's do a few more laps of night runs. I want to get at least a stack of slime balls. Oh, now wait a damn minute. It's a mudkip. Is this the first water starter I found too? Oh, what an amazing find. Legendary level gacha pull. I've gone and wandered around a little more through the day to see if I could find any more water starters, which I didn't, but I did manage to get more slime through the night though. Our mission was accomplished. We can now go ahead and fly back home. can we take a moment to just appreciate how pretty these jungle mountains are? I think I'll 100% be coming back here in the future to do something with these. What a fantastic building location. And guess what I see in the distance? Candy Mount. Huh? What? Chat, is this real? Hold on a minute. Let me just see if... It's looking at us. I'm not quite sure what to do in this situation, I'm gonna be honest. Oh, great Candy Mountain, we come in peace, please don't hurt us, but instead grant us blessings and a bountiful harvest. Okay, I'm out of here. Well, it seems like Candy Mountain has gained sentience for some reason. Not really sure what to do with that revelation at this moment in time. For now, we are back home. And with the slime at my disposal, I can now go ahead and begin reworking my big root farm. Oh, and since we got a mudkip now, Just Ash11 asked, I know it's probably a bit late, but could you catch a mudkip and name it Skippy? That's what I name all my mudkips, my favorite Pokemon. And I'd love to see it used by someone else. I won't have the mudkip on my team, but I can name it Skippy. I plan to do some form of a park in the future where the starter Pokemon will be able to roam, but until then, Skippy will be enjoying his time with the others in the box. Now then, let's get on with this greenhouse rework. I grabbed all of the things I will need, and I don't have enough redstone. Lucky for me, there's tons of exposed redstone all over my caves, because I never ended up grabbing any of it. Oh, hello, Clink. Oh, an Australian house spider. Quick, Darmaka, slap it. With the farm, I started by placing down all of the slimed up pistons and then covering them with redstone. I put in some black colored stained glass, as I've been made aware that apparently stained glass doesn't let through light, acting much like a solid block. So I'm hoping this works. I added in some decorative aspects and then finished it off with adding in the levers for the pistons. And yeah, looks good. Now we just need to wait and come back in a little while to see if the big roots inside multiplied. Now then, I fed the off-brand mill tanks and off we go to the Nether to complete our last job on the list. Oh, hello. What are you doing here? You're gonna sizzle right up into a juicy beef burger meal deal. Hey-ya! Take this gas! Boom! We got it! So why are we in the Nether? Well, do you remember how much of an issue we had with the last berry from the previous episode? Well, Xdimnus commented that the Cassib berry can actually also drop from Duskulls in the Nether, which are stupidly abundant. If this is true, I'm going to do something, I don't know yet. Oh, we actually have a Dusclops here. Let's see if we get anything. No way. No way. The last berry after all the hair loss from the last episode. Yeah, we are going straight into the greenhouse to get this bad boy planted and grow more of it. There you go. This is your place now. Since we are here, we can go ahead and do some quick gardening too, because we actually have some mutations occurring. I'm just going to plant these separately for now, just to grow more of them. But once we have a few more grown, I'll open up the wiki to see which ones I need to plant next to each other to get a new mutation occurring. For now, we are going back into the Nether, as we need to do one of the most mind-numbing Minecraft tasks known to man. We need to gather quartz. Oh, the horror! The new building I'd like to do in this episode is quite large, and mainly consists of quartz. I wanted to change up my building material to shake it up a little, and get some variation going, but I regret it now because I'm going to need a minimum 1 double chest of quartz blocks. Not ore, blocks. And even then, I have a suspicious feeling it won't be enough. I was scavenging from place to place in the Nether, mining out quartz wherever I saw them, and granted, they weren't uncommon, but the process was still so slow. I think that at some point, I'm really going to need to create a way of obtaining a lot of emeralds and build a proper type of villager hall to get masons, as they actually sell quartz blocks at a pretty decent price, which would make this a lot easier in the future. Oh well, for now, I'm just gonna have to suck it up and keep mining. I ended up stumbling upon the top of a piglin bastion which had a full 3x3 cube of gold blocks. This was a nice little bonus. After a while, I found myself in a crimson forest. This place was dangerous, but the shroom lights are actually the main source of light in my new build, and so I carefully skulked around trying to find as many as I could, managing to get around 3 stacks. I then quickly skedaddled out of there at the first opportunity. I continued mining for quartz until, after a very long time, I actually managed to get 2 shulkers of quartz blocks. During this whole operation, I actually ended up rewatching the entirety of the first season of Overlord. It kept me entertained, so I didn't flatline from boredom. On my way to the exit, I've grabbed a few more quartz that I found, but here we are! The overworld and actual fresh air. Love it. I've put all my stuff away and then grabbed some birch saplings. The primary wood type for this build is going to be birch, so I've replaced my oak farm with it. Right, I think it's time to come back to the naming. A few weeks back, I have chosen 4 of my favorite name suggestions for the greenhouse and used them for a vote on my channel posts to see which one you guys like the most. And I'm happy to announce the winner was Petilil's Pasture by Cameron Hunt 5492. I have registered this name down in our documentation book and then went ahead and constructed a sign outside the greenhouse showing off its brand new name. Another vote which was posted was for the name of the tree within Petilil's Pasture, and the winner, as you can see, is Marigold's Maple, suggested by onplanetmars_. What do you think about that name, Marigold? She loves it. So of course, we updated the books and went ahead to put in a sign on Marigold's Maple showing off its new name. Oh, and one more thing. I've added in one more book which will contain lore-relevant developments. For example, Candy Mountain gaining sentience. Yeah, I'm very intrigued to see what is going on with that. Now then, let's actually go ahead and begin building. Which to do that, I need diorite. Okay, let's go find some. So, it turns out that for some reason, there's literally no diorite in my world. I'm gonna be fully transparent. After scanning the caves for it for a while and not finding any, I attempted to locate it via the /locate biome command, and the diorite caves biome just flat out doesn't exist in my world. I don't know why that is, but it means that the only way to get diorite will be through crafting it, and the recipe is more quartz. I began by excavating a shulker worth of cobblestone. This is just cobblestone mining, there's nothing else that happened here. And of course for the quartz we are going back to the Nether. There was a few notable things that happened during my time in this fiery hellscape. I managed to get the return to sender achievement by shooting an arrow into a fire charge. Indeed, returning it back to the sender. I then had a moment in which my reflexes kicked in very well.
Holy shit.
Yeah, this made me feel like I was in a scene straight out of Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon. But of course, we can't have our highs without some lows, which in this case was me losing my valuable chorus totem in the stupidest way possible. This was one of those moments which I'm both super happy and extremely ashamed of catching it on video. Oh, I almost died in lava directly after this too. Well, at least I've managed to get all of the quartz I needed. After making it back into the overworld, I've gone ahead and transmuted all of the cobble and quartz into some fresh diorite. This means that it is now finally time to start building, and oh man was I looking forward to getting this thing started. Here is the visual area of where the build will be and how big it will be, and yes, that entire box is a full build. Unlike with the greenhouse, where there was a lot of empty space because of its octopus-like spread, giving off an illusion of being bigger than it actually was, this box is full. There's barely any empty space. Okay, to start off with, I terraformed the ground in order to flatten it, as that will be the most suitable in this project. Meaning taking a little bit from here and putting a bit more there. Yep, that seems about how I'd like it. It was now time for the pillars, and I'm going for birch. Stripped birch, specifically. I'm attempting to stick as close as possible to white-based colors, as that's the color scheme I'm going for. So you'll notice a lot of the materials we're using for this build are literally white or something close to it. Which, speaking of, there's the diorite foundation. I've even added these little dividers that will add a sort of depth-based split between the diorite foundation and the quartz wall, which will be on the top. Because I'm a builder now, so that's what I do. Once the foundation was done, I slowly began to work on the main walls, using a combination of quartz bricks, the funny pattern quartz, I forgot the name while scripting, this one, and a lot of smooth quartz. I've gradually brought the walls up one by one. I have gone ahead and built some of the flooring for the entrance too, as the entrance will not actually be on the ground floor, but on the top of these stairs. And just so I had a way to go in and out without jumping through the window holes, I've gone ahead and built these cool sloped walkways down on each side. These first inside beams holding the entrance platform needed to combine with the roof of what will be a sort of reception. So I started doing some of that interior work too. Being bored of looking at grass in my new structure, I went ahead and dug it all out, replacing it with birch wood planks alongside oak and spruce planks for a little bit of a flooring pattern. It was around this time that I've also gone ahead and built up all of the quartz walls, leaving holes to put the windows in later. I wanted the windows to be quite tall and grand, because that way they would also let out quite a lot of light. Since this place will be divided into different levels, I've gone ahead and created the under roof flooring, which will be accessible via this hanging bridge-like walkway linking the middle entranceway with the two above locations on either side. For my next job, I've gone ahead and tackled one of the more tricky parts of this build, which was this massive circular window at the front. However, since it'll need to be properly connected to the as of yet non-existent walls for it to be fully complete, I've decided to leave it half complete until a more appropriate time. I've instead switched my attention to the side roofs. They will be lower than the main middle roof, and so it felt like I had to get these done now. Otherwise, it'll be more of a nuisance attempting to continue with the build. I want to say that it didn't take me long to complete these, but actually, this is where I realized how short I was on diorite and how much more I'll actually need. So, back to mining it was. I found a new area for cobblestone collection when all of a sudden, a shiny Makuhita. Where are you? Oh! It's yellow! Yeah! Now the only issue is that it's here and I have no Pokeballs. I left them down in the tunnels. Since I didn't want the Makuhita to despawn, I smacked it vigorously and had it chase me towards the house, where I used a trick that you guys have taught me. Get in the boat. Oh, hey! This way it should stay there no matter where I go. I don't understand the logistics behind it, I'm just making use of a mechanic that exists. And if this wasn't enough, I actually came across a Glaceon. Oh, look how cute you are. But since I already have an Eevee, I don't need to capture it. I opted to defeat it instead for experience, and also look at that, we've got an Ice Stone from it. That's a nice collectible. Back to the Makuhita though, I got the Pokeballs and yup, gotcha. Alright everyone, welcome your new friend Makuhita. Treat him nicely or I'm evicting you. Right then, back to it. I finished off gathering 2 shulker boxes of cobblestone, after which it was time to go to the Nether again. Can't say anything interesting happened this time around. I just went from place to place grabbing any sorts of quartz I could. I think I'm slowly getting used to navigating the Nether now. 2 hours, many piglin fights, and a bit of oddly pretty scenery later, I have managed to gather 2 shulkers full of quartz. Time to fly home. Now then, let's get to the crafting table so I can convert all this stuff into diorite. This better be enough now, or I swear I'm gonna crash out. Back on the build, I've completed the first roofs. Now the fun part is that above these, there is actually going to be platforms that will be accessible. There will be a rooftop platform, almost like an attic, but not really. You'll see what I mean when it's done. In the meantime, I've made this spiralish staircase for easy access and continued with building up the wooden beams necessary for the support of the floor. Oh yeah, and I've also added some stairs and slabs to the roof to smooth it out a little. Before I do completely move to the proper top roof, I've decided to go ahead and get some of the detailing done in my existing structure. These included these quartz blends to hide away the rough edges of the diorite roof, just ending, making it look a little more appealing to the eye. Since I've already had the quartz in my inventory, I've gone ahead and built a little more of the circular window, adding some lights into it and actually joining it up with the walls. Oh yeah. Look at that, it's proper coming along. Now, of course, we'll need something to fill that window up with. So I've gone ahead and collected some flowers I then transformed into dyes, allowing me to make stained glass of the red, orange, and yellow variety. Using this glass was quite fun. I did it in this sort of wavy fashion, almost like a sea of sand, hot air, and heat. I'm pretty proud of how it came out, and so the rest of the windows were done in the same effect. I can't wait to see the colored god rays later on from all these. We of course needed some mood lighting into the building, and so I added a bit of glowstone in the empty parts under the roof, which, speaking of lighting, I continued adding it in through the inside of the builds too. Don't want none of them creepers spawning in because of the darkness, do we? Ooh, I also put together the reception area. I've used some polished diorite for the counters, along with some wooden stairs and slabs for the actual work table. And of course, we can't have a reception without some computers and a vase with a tulip, can we? To finish it off, I added this red carpet on top of the front side of the counters. Not sure why, but it seemed appropriate. This is when I figured out something crazy that I didn't know. If you're scanning a Pokémon that you already have in your Pokédex, and you hold left click, it'll automatically take you to said Pokémon's Pokédex tab. This is such a small, yet impactful feature full of taste. Like, hello? Am I the only one that wasn't aware of this? Back at the build side, my pathways would surely not pass the health and safety inspections, so it was time to remedy that by adding in some fencing. I aimed for a sort of hanging rope net visual, as this way I was going to also be able to hang some light sources off of it. Since the beams looked quite bare too, it was time to add in some extra supports. Gotta say, these turned out a lot better than I thought they would. No idea what vibe I'm actually going for with this place, but I'm liking it so far. That's all that matters. Ooh, let's add some seating. We gotta have some seating. Now that the bottom layer detailing was pretty much done, I moved back to the top half of the build, continuing on with creating platforms I could actually walk on. This included joining up these tall beams up through the middle and then filling in the gaps with some slabs. Side note, this is one hell of a majestic view. Running back to my house to replenish some resources, I encountered a Porygon, and I am fully aware that these bad boys are very rare. So even though I was not going to have a Porygon on my team, I caught it just so I have it. Since I had the big beams holding up the top platform set up now, I've gone ahead and done some styling with some extra supports, as well as some more hanging light sources, cause they're pretty. We also can't leave the sharp edges under the top platform just exposed to the naked eye, and so I've also done some extra work with the quartz back wall to get it nicely blended in with what will become the roof, which I am actually going to start building up right now while I speak a little about the build. So I actually can't remember if I've mentioned what this structure will be. So here's the grand reveal. It's a museum! I'm pretty sure it was kinda obvious anyway though. Since I will be attempting to collect all of the fossils, I would like to have a place where I can store them in a show-off type of way, alongside other items. So I thought building a museum for Forever World would give us the perfect opportunity for that. Plus, museums are quite popular in the Pokémon game franchise. I'm pretty sure each game has some sort of a museum, with some even doubling as gyms. The one that comes to mind immediately would be the one from Black and White. Yeah, that was a good one. I'm actually flabbergasted I've managed to finish the base roof and had enough diorite for it. I ended up adding in some railings and fences so that we don't have someone accidentally falling off. That someone being me, because I totally would. Back on the inside, I started doing a bit more covering up, joining up, and blending using smooth quartz and slabs. The roof feels very skinny right now, with it only being a single layer of diorite. I want it to look and feel a lot more robust than that. And so we are going to add an extra layer of smooth quartz to it, using it to sculpt out these arches, creating massive openings for Elytra users to fly in without any issues. Plus it looks really cool having a sort of layered double arch going on with different types of block. Next, I of course started filling in the roof, slowly joining it all together, and I gotta say, I was sweating in this instance. I was slowly running out of quartz, and I wasn't sure if I would have enough. But as I approached the end closer and closer, with the quartz stock running lower and lower, I had to take some creative liberties. Not using quartz where it isn't needed, as it would have not been visible there anyway. And it worked. I had just so enough to complete the roof. I added in some light sources, and then began work on these little sort of curtains which would create, yup, a triple arch, baby! What can I say? I love my arches. These back balcony curtains, however, I was so proud of. I even created these bottom tie-up parts for them. Now looking around, yeah, I am so satisfied with how this came out. Absolutely love it. The next thing on the agenda is... wait, Sebbediah, where are you going? No! Not the Nether! So it turns out I actually had one more little structure I needed some quartz for, which I didn't have enough of. So here we go. Round, what, 3? Of collecting quartz. I am a dwarf and I'm digging a hole. Yeah, I bet that unlocked some core memories for you, didn't it? Okay, I got my quartz. Where is the portal? Here we go. Before I begin with the last and final builds within the museum, there is a little bit of extra around the world collecting I need to do. We are flying over to a coral reef. I'm gonna need some coral for decorations, so I've swam around collecting a few of them with my Silk Touch shovel. Once I had enough, I flew back to the swamp to grab a little bit of mangrove wood too. Since the museum has a hint of red in it, I wanted the main doors to be red, which mangrove wood is perfect for. Just like so. I need to plan my next build with mangrove wood in mind. It's such a pretty wood type. Oh, by the way, this open space up here, I'm gonna be honest, I don't actually know what I want to put up here. So if you guys have any ideas, leave them in the comments below, and hey, if I get enough good ones, I might go ahead and do another vote so you guys get to choose what goes up there. Okay, so now onto the last 2 builds, which will complete the museum decoration wise. The first one was this really cool skeleton recreation model of a dinosaur, and I'm gonna be honest, I did not design this. I have no knowledge of dinosaurs or their skeletons, and so this is one of those where someone else is going to get it done significantly better than if I tried for a whole day and still failed miserably. So for this skeleton, I used this video. The link is in the description. And from what I've seen, this person has many more tutorials like this one with other creatures. So definitely go and check it all out if you're interested in this in any way. And ooh yeah, this looks fantastic. Stunning. Now, for the last build, I am putting together an aquarium. I thought since we had a shiny Caravana, we should go ahead and build it a place it can swim around happily. It's not a massive tank by any means, so if we find other shinies that are a little too large for the place, we won't be able to have them there. But hey, it's perfect for some of the smaller Pokemon we will come across throughout our time in this world. And there it is, just rising. Caravana, are you okay? Okay, there it goes moving around. It lives. Now, you might have noticed that there is this pedestal here too. Well, I thought that in this museum, on this pedestal, would be the perfect place to keep the dragon egg. Oh yeah, that gave me goosebumps. To completely finish off the build segment properly, I did some light work on the outside, just integrating the build with the surrounding nature and terrain, and connecting it to the roads. Since the vast majority of the build was complete, I'm going to go through that entire process again, but in my home language. Now that all the foreigners are caught up, let us continue. I've actually installed a few new mods, more about that in the pinned comment, which allowed me to stylize my book of goals a little more. Look how pretty it is now. It's really giving girly pop. No boys allowed to look in my diary. Getting myself ready for the adventure ahead of us, I crafted some brushes, for we are going to need them to expose the fossils for our museum. And the first location on our list was that stump of wood that you guys have identified for me as a fossil structure. Brushing the gravel like I brush my dentures, I've unearthed an old amber fossil. Yeah boy, we got our first fossil. Let's dig around a little more to see if I can find anything else. Sadly, I did not find anything else. And so I flew out to our second location, which I've remembered from our previous episode. It was that massive terracotta pillar, and to make sure I got every piece of Among Us gravel from it, I just shredded the entire thing. Listen, I'm new to this whole archaeology thing, okay? Don't make fun of me. It was totally worth it though, as I found myself a jaw fossil and a sail fossil. So those ones can be ticked off. I got so many Cobblemon items too. Genuinely had no idea that this part of Cobblemon was so rewarding. I thought it was just for fossils. A pleasant surprise, but a welcome one. Since those were the only two fossil structures I was aware of, I decided to just kind of walk around the world testing out the chances of stumbling upon more of them randomly. Yeah, turns out the spawn rates are not very high. In combination with the structures blending in fairly well with the environment, this felt like it was going to be berry hunting all over again. Future Dia here. No spoilers, but it wasn't that bad. With the previous statement clouding my third eye, I decided to take the less serious approach as not to crash out like I did with the berry hunt. Instead, operating on the logic that I would not find all of the fossils in this episode, and so I just slowly uncover them throughout the series and be happy when it happens. With this approach, I managed to stumble upon the fossilized bird in the hot shrubland biome, and a skull fossil in the jungle biome. It was in this moment I've realized that these mud pits, which held sus gravel within them, were actually well visible on the map. And so I've gone ahead and made the most of this discovery. In between the travel, we've defeated this very pretty source book. Gotta say, Darumaka's fire punch was becoming quite deadly. For such a round little plumpy thing, she sure could throw some mean hands. I've exhausted the mud pits that I could see, but I've not really acquired anything new, and so it was time to return back home to sort out my inventory and try a different approach. My thought process was fossils equals archaeology equals sand equals desert. So clearly if I go to the desert I'll find way more fossils because that's where they naturally spawn. Even in real life, come on, everybody knows that. Although flying around the desert, this has proven to be untrue in this instance, because I didn't know what the structures looked like, and so even though I looked directly at them multiple times, I just didn't recognize them and therefore they weren't there. Literally Schrodinger's fossil structures. They exist and don't exist at the same time. Although on the bright side, a shiny cacnea spawned in, and oh yeah, it's yellow. Kinda starting to get a little strange now with how many yellow shinies I'm finding. I'm starting to suspect there might actually be a greater power in this forever world that heard my color preferences. Check this out, I thought this was quite funny. It was becoming night, so I had a nice sleep under the bare sky. And look at this, I just walk away without grabbing my stuff. I just left my stuff there like an idiot. I just walked through half the desert before I realized what I've done. Luckily, backtracking worked pretty well in this instance, and I was reunited with my essential supplies shulker box. Shortly after this, a shiny sandile spawned in, and is it yellow? it's more like a boogery green, really, isn't it? Which is kinda close to yellow. Like, boogers are originally more in the yellow category, so you know what? We are counting this. The yellow shiny chain remains unbroken. Since it was getting quite late for me in real life time, I've decided it was for the best to pack it up for the day and start fresh tomorrow. In between the recordings, I've made the executive decision that it was probably a good idea to do some research on fossils and their structures in Cobblemon, so that I know what I'm actually looking for. Right, now that I have actually studied a little, it was time to try again. And immediately I've come across this structure that was full of suspicious gravel, containing so many different items, including these pottery shards, which I wasn't quite sure what they were for exactly, but I'm sure they'll be useful at some point later. Look at this hole though. Even managed to get a shell bell out of it. From the videos I have watched, the underwater fossil structures seem like they'd be the easiest to find, so into the open ocean we go. There was this multi-structure spawn that I found, but it was protected by a literal army of drowned. I got proper close to dying, so a tactical retreat was necessary to re-establish my ground and then slowly take them out one by one. Once the danger was gone, I was free to look through these ruins to see what they held, and it was mostly just more pottery shards, emeralds, and for some reason a lot of tools. Sadly no fossils, but hey, I got a few more items, so at least I wasn't leaving empty-handed. This is where the world was like, hold on, before you leave, take this with you. And a Dratini spawned in. Once again, I know these cute little water snakes are very rare, so there was no way I was just going to leave it there. And boop. Gotcha! Catching rare Pokemon will never not be satisfying. Traveling to the mainland had me stumble upon, yep, that's no doubt a fossil structure. Ooh, old Amber again. What a shame it wasn't a new one. Ooh, here we go, another one of these. Another Joe fossil. That's 3 of them now. Old Amber in the lead with 4 so far. Correction, 5. 5 Old Amber. I can see that the world generation was feeling a little drunk in this instance, cause it summoned in a tiny floating fossil island, which isn't supposed to happen, but you bet I took full advantage of it. And oh baby, we got ourselves another fossilized bird. Oh well, it's good to have duplicates in case I need them. Back on the open ocean, I actually ended up finding one of the underwater fossil spawns and got a dome fossil from it. Finally, a new fossil, ticking this one off our list. I did end up scavenging a few other structures I could see, but sadly I didn't get anything new. It was time for a change of scenery now. I found that there was a chance for some fossils to spawn in Lush caves too, and so I've made my way to one of the cave systems I was at before to see if I missed any fossils I could spot this time around. The one thing that's caught me off guard was how many mobs there was. It was at this point I deemed it appropriate to send out Marigold, Basil, and Darumaka to help me out with fighting the bad guys. And look at them go! Go girls, oh you go girls, hit it, ooh! Loving how strong my Pokemon are now. Can't wait for the rest of the team to be busted like that. Right, about the fossil structure. It consists of mossy cobblestone, which doesn't normally spawn under normal circumstances in normal Lush caves, so we just have to keep an eye out for any sign of it and we'll be set. The amount of artifact sites I ended up finding though. My favorite artifact I found was this obsidian skull, which grants temporary fire resistance. It is stylish and it will definitely come in useful, knowing how susceptible I am to falling in lava. Coming across this massive opening, I was having a genuine good time. Weirdly enough, it felt cozy and safe, especially with my team at my side. And it didn't take too long until, yep, that is indeed the structure we're looking for. And look at that, full of water stones too, which are easily the prettiest evolution stones in my opinion. What fossil is that? What one is that? Fossilized fish! Hell yeah! After this, I stuck around the caves for a little while longer, but I wasn't able to find any more of these. So it was time to get back to the surface, but not before grabbing this leaf stone. My haul this time round is good. Look at all these goodies. Wanting to continue this pattern, I've decided to head towards the coral reef. Seeing the type of fossil dens that spawn there, I felt quite confident I could spot one with fair ease. But after a while of searching, I couldn't find one, which was a shame. Oh, hello, horsey. Oh, you're so cute. And the wild lapras. What a majestic creature. I think I'm gonna go ahead and tackle the desert again because look at this. Now that I know what I'm looking for, I can literally see the structures on the map. After marking all of them, it was time to see if they held any new fossils for me to discover, which they sure did. Boom, helix fossil. Boom, root fossil. Boom, piece of coal. Boom, fossilized drake. We were on an absolute roll, but my brush is almost broken and my inventory full. So I've opted to return home to empty my shulkers and craft up some more brushes. Oh, and let's go and let out the new shinies into the greenhouse so that they can make friends with the others. Remember guys, if you have any name suggestions, leave them in the comments. I will pick only the highest quality names. Oh, having that museum built looks so good there. I love it. Okay, back into the field. There's one more den I want to explore. Boom, fossilized dino! It was at this point I realized how many fossils I've already gotten. And thus I've decided that at this point, I'll just go ahead and try to collect them all. And so our next destination was the frozen sea full of glaciers. Talk about a temperature shift. There's so many cute Pokémon here. Hello Seal, hello Celio, hello Spheal. Whoa, an Avalug. A true force of nature. Right, where's them fossils? Maybe in the water? Yo, that's so pretty. Oh no. Oh no, I'm gonna drown. Oh no. Holy shit, not me almost drowning under the ice. Wandering around the frozen waters, I struggled to identify whether there was any fossil structures around me, especially since the structures just looked so similar to the normal vanilla Minecraft icicles. That is, until I switched up my strategy, which seemed to have worked immediately, as I spotted what seemed to have been a very obvious underwater ice spike. These contain a fair bit of suspicious sand, and so I battled off the drowned while brushing loot out of the sand in between the battles. Oh, look at this tiny wishy-washy. What a cute little sardine. You know what? This made me realize that at some point in the future, I need to make an underwater base, or even a whole underwater base town, cause these visuals are proper cool. Oh, here we go. A cover fossil. That's another one down, 3 more to go. Oops, scratch that, we just scored the claw fossil. 2 more to go. I couldn't get the last 2 remaining fossils from this spike, and so I finished off gathering the rest of the loot and swam back up to the surface. The next step was to find a sun-scorched den, which is home to the armor fossil. These are fairly present in the Badlands and the Savanna biomes, and so my destination was the massive Badlands mountain, which I have up until this point only seen from a distance. However, the closer I got to it, the more my world generation went wild. Oh boy, what is going on here? Aha, I think I understand. I preloaded all my Distant Horizons chunks a few Tectonic and Terralith updates ago, and the newer updates must have changed the terrain generation while DH was still using the old one it had saved. So now we got a bit of a mismatch. Well, I'm sure this will work itself out. In the meantime, let's keep an eye out on that sun-scorched den. Found you and got ya. Armor fossil is ours. We now have only one left to find. The plume fossil. Normally, the rule is that the last one of anything is usually the hardest to find. But funny enough, while heading towards another sun-scorched den I've located on the map, because I wanted another armor fossil because I'm greedy, there was a birch root right next to it which just so happens to contain the plume fossil. And so I've proceeded to loot both of them of everything they had, completing my fossil collection successfully. Right, time to fly back home. Whew, it's nice to be back. I've put all my stuff away, and I actually noticed that I was running a little low on Pokeballs. So after crafting the basic red and yellow Pokeballs, I decided to upgrade my options. I never realized how many Pokeballs were actually available in Cobblemon. Let's make some Park Balls, some Safari Balls. Oh yeah, these are cool. Let's get some of these too. Netball? Yes, please. I want one more, and I'm thinking Love Ball. Let's get it. Something about seeing all of these in my shulker is so satisfying. Okay, now it is time to prepare for the finalization of the museum. I crafted up these display boxes, which will be used to show off the evolution stones display. That's right, I'm a massive fan of pretty shiny rocks both in real life and in Pokemon. Therefore, I have to have the evolution stones shown off in the museum, and I think I've done a pretty good job. We are still missing the shiny stone and the moonstone, but I've no doubt they'll turn up sooner or later. In the middle of the bridge, I've decided to put these fun little directional signs, you know, to make sure no one gets lost. And opposite the stones on the other side was the perfect place to display our fossils. Go on, into the frame you go. Very carefully, I don't want to accidentally crumble you. Gotta also make sure to name them all correctly. We do not support misinformation under this roof. Okay, this is good, but it's still missing something. And I know exactly what. Where's my shards? I watched a quick tutorial on what to do with the shards and how to create the vases and pots using them. And since they were introduced along with the archaeology mechanic, I thought it'd be fitting to also include them in the museum as filler decorations, placing them around our stone and fossil displays along with normal little pots, which I can then add some flowers into for extra color. Oh yeah, I like this. Lastly, it is time to tackle the research laboratory part of the museum. We have to have a place where we resurrect the expired Pokémon. To begin with the lab, I've crafted the standard bookshelves along with some empty ones. The place needs somewhere to store all its findings after all, which these wall shelves will be perfect for. I then continued with these little organic material stacks in storage. For those who don't know, in order to bring a fossil back to life, you need some organic materials such as seeds or leaves. So it makes sense for the lab to have a lot of these stored on the side for constant use. Of course, we gotta have some tables for working, and also a lectern because look at that! Turns out you can place a Pokédex on it. It feels suitable for the workers to have constant access to a shared Pokédex for information recording. Then I've placed some work equipment on the side tables, as well as some flowers for extra decor. I also grabbed some books to fill up the empty shelves to make it look a little more appealing to the eye. Now then, for the actual fossil resurrection equipment. It is separated into 3 parts. The first one is the data monitor, crafted via some iron, copper, glass and a redstone torch. I'm going to have 4 resurrection machines set up in total. However, these parts are really good decoration items too. So for the monitor, I made an extra one because I want to use it as such. The second part of the machine is the restoration tank, for which we need a revive, which consists of some honey bottles combined with heal powder. The latter was quite easy as we could finally put our little greenhouse to use, harvesting the revival herbs and then smelting them down into heal powder. As for honey bottles, yeah, we got a single one in storage. Lucky us though, all we need to do to get more of these is go and smack some bees up with Darumaka's fire punch. Now make sure you don't do this in real life as combis are very important to the environment and we should be doing whatever we can to help them in any shape or form. You can do it to wasps though, those are just cooked with wings. Okay, we got our honey bottles. Doing some alchemy, much like I do with Grandma's powders, I've created the revive, which I have subsequently used along with some iron, glass and a composter to create the restoration tanks. The last part left to craft was the fossil analyzer. I do need amethyst shards for this, which I wasn't sure if I had, but I did have clusters which can be broken down into shards. So thankfully I didn't need to go and look for a geode. Using some iron, the amethyst shards, redstone, glass and finally cobbled deep slate, I've created the fossil analyzer, the last part required for our resurrection machine setup. And now we just have to assemble them, just like so. Not gonna lie, I'm actually vibing with this so hard. Okay, let's choose the fossils to bring back. The Helix fossil is like the mascot of Pokemon Archaeology. We gotta do that one. Of course, we gotta go for the old Ember too. Let's throw in the Jaw fossil. I have no idea what that one is, so that'll be interesting to see what comes out of that. And lastly, let's do the fossilized bird. Now we just gotta throw in some seeds, and there we go, it's doing it! For some reason the bird one isn't working, so I'm gonna swap it to a sail fossil instead. There we go. And now we just wait for these little guys to sprout up. The fossils are all done, and look how cool they all look. I love this. I'm gonna take the Aerodactyl out the tank, but I want to leave the rest alone, as they just look super cool in the tanks. For Aerodactyl's Pokeball, I couldn't choose between the Luxury Ball or the Dream Ball, as they were both very pretty. But ultimately, I chose the Luxury Ball. Retrieving our first resurrected from a fossil, ancient Pokemon. Let's send it out, I want to look at it. It's so majestic. The Cobblemon team have really outdone themselves with these models. They are so good. Her walk is so good too. Go on girl, be free. I think she likes the museum. Righty, to finish the episode off, I'd like to go ahead and do two more things. Firstly, Tor469 commented, "A name suggestion for Darumaka is Dodgeball. When I was brought along a shopping trip with family, me and my brother looked at the little toy section and found a stuffed Darumaka. This was shortly after getting back into Pokemon Go, where we both had a Darumaka. He mentioned that you could play Dodgeball with a bunch of the little guys, so I think it could work as a good nickname for yours." 100% love it. Our enemies shall feel the wrath of Dodgeball and her overpowered fiery punches. The second thing I'd like to do is this. She looks so good. Hello, Dodgeball. You look fantastic. Look at that walk. She is the spotlight. She is the moment. For those that don't know the lore, Darmanitan has this weird ability that allows them to transform into a literal statue. Through this ability, they were able to survive for a very long time. So these guys are technically ancient Pokemon that never went extinct, falling in with the theme of this episode perfectly, hence being the reason I've chosen to evolve it. But that brings us to the end of the episode. I'm pretty happy with everything I've accomplished today, and gotta say, I've had an absolute blast, especially with the fossil hunting and reviving. Plus, our team is slowly getting stronger and stronger. Oh my god, did you see that animation? Dodgeball, that was so cute. As I was saying, pretty soon we're going to have one hell of a powerhouse of a team. I'm super happy with the museum build too. We're of course going to need a name for it, so if you have any ideas, drop them down in the comments below, and may the best creative win. Anyways, thank you all for watching. If you've enjoyed the video, make sure to leave a like. If you'd like to see more, then make sure to subscribe. Feel free to comment down your favorite part of the video. I love reading all the comments and I try to reply to as many as I can, cause it's fun! But once again, thank you for watching and I'll see you all in the next video. Goodbye.